Other things about the certification exam is it's going to be 50 minutes long. So if you average it out, it's about a minute per question. So 1/3 of the exam is going to be pure navigation, where you actually going to get the actual QuickBooks layout, and you're going to be asked to navigate and take your mouse, click and drag on how to actually answer the question. So for example, if it says enter in a bill, you're gonna either do it from the home page, and if it says that's not available, then you're gonna go do it to the vendors menu. If that says it's not available, then go to the vendor center, go through manage transactions, etc., right? But for this one, I believe the exam is going to be point, click, and hold and drag. Okay, so it's not like regular. It's not regular where you could just go ahead and point, click, and this, and they actually want you to point, click, and drag. Okay, so that's navigation, and that's 1/3 of the exam. So 50, so maybe about 15 questions. And again, it's not all your answers are going to be from the home page. You're gonna have to exhaust every single possible answer there is. So that's exactly what I'm prepping you for. You could get it right the first time, but you may even have to try until the very last one. So that's why I'm maximizing and trying to show you every possible way that you can enter in a specific transaction. The one that's more apparent are going to be the ones that you see directly on the homepage, but other things that for most cases, like anything that you right click, that one is probably not going to be as as easily to be able to find, because you could right click on any icon and it might be able to take you to any place. So it's usually like on the home page or on the menu bar, or when you go into a center, usually it will be in one of those drop down menus. Okay, so again, that's going to be the navigation part. Now, one thing that I did not mention is that in the book, it shows you a whole bunch of shortcuts. For this certification exam, you type in that control and you do a shortcut, that's automatically going to be wrong. You're not being tested on shortcuts, because again, the shortcuts are only for those who are more advanced users of QuickBooks, right? So you're not being tested on the shortcuts. You're being tested on every other way to possibly get there. So if Control N is to open up your chart of accounts, no, you need to physically go to the list menu bar, open that chart of accounts, or go to the home page and chart of accounts, or go to company chart of accounts. Okay, so make sure you understand that no shortcuts are allowed on this exam. Okay, so approximately 50 questions. I had a few students who've taken it and it was less than 50, but aim for 50, okay, and 50 minutes on the clock. All right, and in order to be successful and actually take these practice exams is actually going to happen after the class is over. So therefore, I am not going to be walking you through your entire test prep. That's going to be something that you're going to be doing on your own. The only requirement that we have of you is when upon receiving your geometrics practice exam. So that means after the class is over, depending on how fast and how quickly Casey processes the QuickBooks practice exams, I will distribute them via your email. So whatever email that you signed up with the Google Classroom is my primary contact to you. You're going to look at that, and I'm going to send you a access code, and it will give you directions on how to access geometrics. Because before COVID all happened, geometrics was actually something you had to download onto your computer and access it that way. Now everything's more virtual. It's much more easier. It's an online service now. So The directions are going to be attached in the email right after your code is there. Okay, and once you get your code, the first thing you got to do is you got to sign up and register and basically what do you call it? Redeem your voucher for those practice exams. Okay, and you should have a total of 30 practice exams and I believe 4 different types of exams. The only requirement that we do have you do is upon getting your G-metrics and you do take your exams, you need to pass it at least twice with a 90% in a row. Okay, so I mean, you have a total of 30 exams. I wouldn't stop there. I would recommend you to keep going and going and going until you get 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. Because we've also had a few students before who hit that 90 the second time, and when they took it, they actually bombed and missed their first attempt on the QuickBooks exam. And your package does include, in case you do actually fail the first time, you are able to retake the second time. No extra additional fees. It's included into your package. However, it's always best to try to pass it the first time, right? Also, second thing is, like, I guess I could give you statistics. The first time practice or first time rating being successful to pass is actually a lot lower. It's about, I believe Mr. Sanchez says anywhere from 40 to 60% pass the first time. So for those who are more avid users, you're pretty much in the safe zone, because you already know what's going on when it comes into QuickBooks. But for those who are beginners or who never used QuickBooks before, that's why I recommend you don't stop at your second 90%. I keep going until you for surely master each practice exam. Okay, and that's my best bet for you. And again, all of this is going to be done on your own time after the class is done. Okay, if you do have other classes available, or you are completing other classes during this week or after the class is over, I mean, that's completely fine. The practice exams, they do have a time limit on them. Obviously, you're not going to be able to redeem them after 6 months, but you definitely it's definitely within at least a couple months after purchasing the voucher. Okay, so with that being said, if you could just register it, that's perfect. Okay, that's the initial step you need to do. But for most cases, everything's going to be done on your own, and you're going to be actually, once you've successfully got your practice exams 90% at least a couple times, that's where you're going to go ahead and schedule with Casey or whoever is in charge of the testing center. Because Casey is our accountant, and she's going to be the one that's actually purchasing your voucher to take the exam. Okay? So once you get your voucher to take your exam, you have up to one whole entire year to redeem the exam. Now, that's what we say, so you guys can kind of, you're not on a time crunch, or you're not, taking the exam when you're not ready. So that allows you to go ahead and have that, little time frame upon the purchase of your voucher. Okay, so if you're still in the practice moment, then you're still good to go, because you're still practicing. However, whenever you're ready to get your voucher, you have one whole year to redeem your voucher to take your exam. Now, if you do take your exam the first time and you do fail it, you actually, there you have another time limit here. Once you failed it the first time, you have exactly 30 days to take your second attempt. If not, you lose your voucher. You cannot, everything is going to have to be out of your own pocket. Okay, and these vouchers are actually pretty these they're pretty expensive. Okay, so I believe this QuickBooks one is it's like 299, or maybe it could be 400. I haven't checked it last time I've checked it, but the testing center will let you know. So because you guys are taking it here at PETA, you guys will when you talk to Casey, Casey's gonna automatically schedule it to take it at the testing center at our school. So and it's free for students, so you don't have to pay for an extra. You don't have to pay for the test. You don't have to pay for a locker. You just know that it's because you're taking the class at our school. The everything is complimentary. It's free. Okay. Any questions in regards to just the exam itself?
No, I don't think so yet.
Okay,
How long is
Michelle,
the exam? What's the time frame? How long is the exam
50
for the
minutes.
certificate? 50 minutes for the certificate?
For the certification exam, it's exactly 50 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if you're not very comfortable using a computer, then you may need to sit out on this one and keep practicing the navigation portion the most. All right, your practice exam does include that section. I believe two of the exams are peer navigating. Okay, so try to utilize and take advantage and make yourself feel comfortable to move quickly, because you are on a time crunch. Now, if for any reason you need that extra time, please contact the testing center, because they will give you what documentations and forms that you may need in case you need that extra special time or any extra accommodations. Because the certification exam, right, it's 50 questions, and especially with that being said, it's 50 questions and you only have 50 minutes to do it. You have to do it as quickly as possible. Okay. So, if navigation is not something that you're very comfortable with, if it takes you a long time to try to figure out how things, or where to click and stuff, that's probably going to be your biggest thing that you must tackle. All right. But other than that, that's just a recommendation. Any other questions?
Mm, I have one question. Well, yeah, I have one question.
Go for it.
So I know that it's timed. So if you run out of time, the questions that you do not complete, are they counted against you, or because you did not complete it in time, you automatically fail?
Mr. Sanchez, are you there?
Nope.
Okay, well,
I was just wondering, like,
I am
how that
here.
whole thing
I am
works.
here.
I know for the questions that you do get wrong, they count against you. But so the question was, if you don't finish like if you leave a question blank, does that count against you for your score?
Yeah, but then also if it's an incomplete, like you don't finish all of the questions, like does that automatically, keep you from getting the certification? Is that an automatic fail? So
Well,
you
it's
get
definitely it.
half.
Um, uh, Mr. Sanchez, are you there? Did you hear the question?
Yeah, I
I
heard the question.
okay.
Um, so if you take the exam, like you need to complete, I believe, 70% of the exam, correct? This little sheet that she's showing you shows you approximately how many questions you're going to have in each section.
But
So,
her question was if she didn't, if the time ran out, and let's say there's 5 questions remaining,
and those are wrong.
they're wrong. Okay, that's what I was good. Because basically, yes, it will count against you.
It's
Um,
not an automatic fail that you didn't finish, but they're just counted wrong.
yes,
Okay.
correct.
Well, you're kind of wrong. So again, you need 70% to pass. So if
Right.
because of that one question that you ran out of time and you don't meet the 70%, yeah, then you failed.
Mhm.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. So, yes. So, it and if I'm not mistaken, I think the multiple choice comes first, and then the navigation is the last section. Okay,
It's 50 questions, right?
50 questions in no, it's approximately 50
Yeah.
questions in grand total. Okay, every certification exam that you take is actually going to be different every single time around. So I can't pinpoint exactly which questions you're going to be able to get, but this is just generally what you would be expected to see through yes, but as far as the multiple choice is going to come first, and then your navigation portion is last. So if you can blaze through the multiple questions first, then then you have all the time for navigations, because usually multiple choice, right, if you know the answer, you don't even need a full minute to answer it. Okay, it's only questions that you kind of have a little like you're kind of wanting to answer correctly or not. But for most of it, now, if you actually notice in the book itself, a lot of the questions are in negative. It's always not something, or it's always what can you not do, or what does not happen, or what's always false. It's never the true one, okay? So that's what kind of is kind of something that you need to know very clearly. Like, so for example, you need to know what is and what is not. Okay, so it kind of, I guess in that kind of, it could work in your favor, but oftentimes what happens too is that because we are human, when we look at a question, we can analyze it and understand it in different ways. So as far as the certification, so that's why the geometrics portion is from the actual certification, the one that's actually certifying your QuickBooks certification test. That's the actual voucher we're actually purchasing from. We're purchasing directly from Certiport. And Certiport is the one that you're going to be testing for the QuickBooks for. So whatever's reflecting in their like their questions is going to be identical, if not more or less similar to what you're going to be seeing on the exam. Now, of course, practice exams are going to be give you a bunch of different questions. You're not able to see the whole entire questionnaires, but that's what this class is for. It's so we can analyze those questions and try to answer them as as possible. Okay. But I did also post in some practice exams on the Google Classroom. Those ones are going to be identical to the ones that you should be seeing in your practice exam. So those ones, the ones that I posted to the Google Classroom, test 1, practice test 2, and practice test 3, those are all going to be similar to the certification exam. All right. Any questions before we can go ahead and get started?
Nothing right now.
Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So again, these are just pretty much estimated questions, or or what you should be expected to see. So each section, for example, this one says QuickBooks setup. That's going to be 6% of your 6% of your exam, which is entailed to maybe approximately 3 questions. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, I'll highlight things that are in the chapter that we haven't learned yet. So let's go ahead and answer them. So question number, I guess, 1 here is, What information is required in order to set up your QuickBooks file? So this one's pretty straightforward. Okay.
Sorry, I'm flipping. I'm getting myself ready.
That's fine. All right, I'll give you a hint. This is going to be in chapter 12. Okay. When we learn how to set up our company file. Okay. There's that checklist in okay.
Yeah, I don't have enough room to have everything open here.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. I just want to know. Okay, so for this exact question, okay, I want you to not right now. In chapter 12, if you guys remember very, very vaguely, there is that little checklist that you have to complete, the 12 steps in order to properly set up your company file.
So is this like the start date, creating
Yes.
the company file,
Yes.
setting up the chart of accounts and other lists?
Right.
Correct. So we're going. That's going to be basically all the information that's required before setting up your company file, right? Usually, that's the first thing that you have to do is. First one is start date. When are you actually going to start working on QuickBooks? That is general rule of thumb. But remember, I also told you beyond that list, right? The very first thing is you need to establish what kind of company you're even going to create. So you need to get all that information. So in regards to what kind of business you're going to be creating, because ultimately that's part of the interview itself. You need to have all that information in order to even set up your QuickBooks. So I don't remember what that page is, but it is in chapter 12.
346.
346, thank you.
Yep.
So page 346 is where it's at, and that's going to be the 346.
12 step.
12
setup
steps.
checklist.
Correct. All right. All right. Now, how to start a new company data file in QuickBooks. Okay. So remember, we looked at 2 ways you are able to do it. Okay. We look. What are the 2 ways?
Express and then
Express, and what?
advance. It's there, right in there.
2018. What does it tell you instead?
Is it detailed?
Correct. So because you're being tested for the certification for 2018, you're expected to know the language in the book. So in this case, in 2019 and beyond that, it's going to be regular start and advanced start. But 2018, it's express start and it's detailed start. Yes. And then we also know the detailed start is also to be known as, what's another name for the detailed start?
Damn it.
Okay, it's also in this page right here. It's also known as the easy step interview.
Oh, I was going to say interview, but I was like, that's not right. But it's the easy step interview.
Yes. All right. Easy step interview. Okay. And then, of course, you guys know what the details are beyond this. Okay. So, detailed is pretty much again, when we do the detailed start, the easy step interview, you're pretty much walking through setting up company preferences as well as setting up what kind of business type you are. Okay. But other than that, the Express Start is more for advanced users, right? All you're really doing is, as far as the basic information that you need for the Express Start is just your company name, your address, email, phone number, the basic contact information, and everything after that is going to be everything that you have to fill in by yourself. So setting those preferences by yourself, setting having to create the checking account, opening all the balances, all that stuff is going to be done by yourself. So, yes. Okay, so those are the two different types. Make sure you understand the difference between the two and how you utilize those two. Okay. Question number 3 is how to keep the lists and preferences from an old file while removing all the transactions. This is something I'm going to talk about in chapter 13. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that because we haven't even talked about this just yet. So chapter 13. Okay. Next question here is how to customize the home page. Okay, we talked about this in chapter 12. How do you customize the home page?
Goodness, where is it? Menu bar?
Okay, so menu bar, which one on the menu bar?
Oh, I should have
Just take a look on that screen.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, here you go.
Edit.
Edit
Oh, preferences.
preferences. Yes. That again, so remember the did I hit preferences? What? So when we talked about the easy step interview, right? When we set up the homepage. So here, right, if you wanted to display certain things on your actual homepage or edit it. So if you look right here on my screen, we have the inventory section up there, right? You want to customize that and say I don't want those icons to be there. You go to your items and inventory, right? And you can go ahead and click inventory, click OK, and the next time you open up your home page, that whole section is gone. Okay, and we talked about the 4 things that you can actually customize. So that's just to get rid of your inventory icon. But of course, if you do that, that means what you're doing is you're deactivating inventory. But if you are using inventory, then no, unfortunately, that part is actually that has to actually be there. So edit preferences. What's wrong? So we did talk about one of them, which is under display. If you guys remember desktop view, you can customize having those the statements and the charge statements and this one, right? Remember, if you could check mark those off and those will appear or not appear on your home page. Okay. Other ones too is you could also do that through the company preferences. So for example, you have like that manage sales tax. You're able to actually that's a company preference. But if you go to the company, you'd be able to edit the information there. It's not particular for the home page. It's for the preferences. Okay. So let me go ahead and type that in there. So one way to do it is through the edit menu preferences. Okay. Now, of course, the other way you could customize your home page is actually through the Easy Step interview. So, if this is your first time looking at QuickBooks for the first time, you would not know that you could customize your home page through the Easy Step interview. But if you are an avid user, then that should have been something that you should know, that the Easy Step interview, it even mentions it too, that you are actually customizing company preferences. Okay. Okay. So now that we have that one, okay, now the next one is how to set up lists. So customers, vendors, items, etc. This includes understanding understanding which names and items that they belong to. So this one, okay, for customers and vendors, obviously we know how to create them, right? That's going to be more for creating those in your customer center or your vendor center. Now, items, we did talk about creating your items list. How do you do that?
Go to lists on
Okay,
your top bar and go to item
list.
list.
Yes, good. You could go to list and go to item list.
And then down at the bottom on item, you click on it and new.
Good. Okay. So yes, you could do it that way. Good. Another one is also on the home page under items and services is the quickest way to get there as well. You'd be able to create items here. Now the hidden one is actually going to be under your vendor center. I'm sorry, your vendor menu bar. Okay. Vendors, and you're gonna go to well, hold on. You have to activate your inventory, which I need to redo. So items and inventory, company. Here you go. Okay. Once you have your inventory, your items and inventory, you go to the vendors menu. You go to inventory activities, and it says new item. So you can create your new item that way too. That's a more hidden one because that's the assumption that you have an inventory activated
Inventory and then
activities.
new. Oh, okay, got it.
But that's only if you have inventory activated. If you don't and you're just a pure service, then your only options are to go to items and services on the homepage, or you're gonna have to actually go to list, item list. Okay, so that's why that's a hidden one because not every company file will have inventory.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a hidden one. So you can go ahead and say here for list, okay, or items list. Let's say you have the home page, you have the list menu bar, and you also have vendors. Inventory, activities, new item. Okay. So again, I'm not going to go over customers and vendors because those are pretty straightforward. You just go as long as you get to their either whether it's a customer center or a vendor center, then it's pretty straightforward. You have the top portion right there where it says new vendors or new customers. Same thing with employees. Now, other lists that we're actually going to be looking at is going to be chart of accounts. So that's definitely something that you can customize. Again, that's the number one thing that you should know how to do because in order to create an item, you need to have an associated account set up prior. So, chart of accounts, again, you could find that on the list menu bar. You can find that on the home page. And you can find that under the company menu bar. Okay, so I'll go ahead and show you quickly. So again, on the home page, you have your chart of accounts right here under company. Right here. you have it at the list. It's the first thing that you see, chart of accounts, and you actually do have it on your company file, company menu bar, chart of accounts. Okay. And of course, straightforward after that is in order to enter in a new account, you go back down to the bottom, right? Or you can just right click anywhere on the list and you can create a new account. All right. And of course, we talked about lists. So if you actually if you do get a question on how to set up like a price list, which you shouldn't, that's not something that you would be super tested on. It's more like the more basic ones, like setting up payroll tax items, sales tax items, those kind of things. If you have those kind of questions, it's pretty straightforward. If you can go to the list menu, then you can create everything, and it's the same exact format too. You just go down to the bottom left corner and select that drop down menu and select new. Okay, so let me see if we're good on time. Okay, so that is section number 1 right there. Okay. Now the next section here is QuickBooks utilities and general product information. So first things first, you should know is how to navigate or move around onto the QuickBooks interface. So again, we talked about 3 interfaces. What are they?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I was formatting something.
So the question is, it says how to navigate or move around QuickBooks using the home page, the menu bar, and the icon bar. So that's what I was asking is what are the 3 interfaces to enter in a transaction? How do you navigate in QuickBooks?
So there's the home page, the menu bar, and the icon bar.
Correct. Okay, menu bar and icon bar. Yeah. So these are pretty straightforward. So you maybe even asked that question too because you were asked that question in the book too. What are the 3 main ways what are the 3 main interfaces of QuickBooks? It's the home page, the menu bar, and the icon bar. Pretty straightforward. As we know, the home page, right? The graphic depiction of a transaction. The icon bars, the left panel where you can enter in whether it's a center or a quick way to get something, and then the menu bar, which lists every single transaction that exists in QuickBooks. All right, so that's how you can navigate the QuickBooks is using either or the menu bar, the home page, or the icon bar. So how is basically answering that question right there is those 3 questions right there, or those 3 answers right here. Okay. All right, the next one is how to back up and restore a data file. So this is definitely something that we learned in chapter 1. File, good. File where? Where is file?
On the menu bar.
Correct.
And then you go back up company.
Yes, that's how you back up a company. Okay. What about restoring a data file? How do you do that? Yes, file.
Yep. It's the same process. You go down to backup company, right? And then there's the restore.
To restore one is different from actually creating a backup.
backup company and then
It's
open or restore.
yeah, right there. Open and restore is going to be a separate than actually backing up the company itself. Backing up the company. I don't remember if we actually gone over an example of this.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Something's wrong with the.
It's Michelle. Sorry. Sorry, Michelle.
So no, that's fine. When we I'm not quite sure if we actually went over this. This was a long time ago, but if you go to backup company, right, you could create a local backup, and what happens is you're going to get this little window, and the first thing that you want to do is you need to actually select a place to locate it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly show you the next button and say, well, once I get there, now it's going to say, well, how many times do you want it to be backed up? And do you want it automatically backed up? How many times a day do you want it to be backed up? You know, do you want it to be running, do you want it to have QuickBooks run in the background and back up your file? So that's what this window comes up. And again, if you are the kind of company that like multiple people are actually using your file, this is definitely something you definitely want to set up. But again, a backup file is it's just to ensure in case you know, while you're working on a file, the QuickBooks doesn't crash on you at a given point in time. Because if you do have multiple people accessing the file at once, or your internet area is just kind of shaky, you also have to understand that QuickBooks needs the internet, and if it doesn't have the internet, it's not going to save any of your transactions. Okay, so that's all this is. You just gotta find a general location to where to save it, and how many times you want to save it, how often, and do you want it to have it automatically do it for you without asking you all the time. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and click cancel so I can exit out of this window. Open and restore is another concept where when you have a backup file or a portable file, how do you open it? Pretty straightforward. You just go to open. Well, I can't do it now because I already have a file open. You click that open and restore file, and you're going to first locate where you have the backup file located. You need a place to save it because it's going to create a new working data file. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so that's how that question is being asked. It is going to be on the file menu bar. And again, yes, same thing here. File menu bar. But this time, this was going to be open or restore. Okay. All right. Any questions for that one?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So here, this one says how to determine the release number and how to update QuickBooks file. Okay. So this one is going to be a two-part question. So let's work one at a time. So the first one is going to be, how do you determine the release determine the release number?
Is that your F2?
Yes. Okay, release number.
Information and everything there.
Yes, F2 button. The function key 2 button is what we call it. So if you tap that button, you're okay, I did not tap that. F2. Okay. Here it gives you details on the current working file that you have currently open, right? And it's also going to tell you how many releases that you have. So if you look at the very top of the title, it tells you that this is your product file, okay? And it also tells you right here, product, QuickBooks Desktop Pro 2019 release R1. I've never updated this entire QuickBooks ever since I opened it, which was September of last year. Okay, so I've never updated it, so that's how I know that my release number is still release number 1. for me, I didn't find any reasons to have to update it because everything that I've showed you in the book pretty much works. So I have no issues with that. So that's why I've never updated my QuickBooks. Okay, release number 1. Okay, now how do I actually update my QuickBooks? How do I update my QuickBooks?
I don't know that one either. I'm trying to look around to see if I missed it.
Okay.
I have a question. So under file, I see it says update web
Web
services.
services, yeah, I see that.
That's just web services. Okay, so that's not the same thing.
All right.
Other than that, there's another, under the company tab on the homepage, there's a QuickBooks 2021 is here. Can I update
That
it
okay,
there, or
that
is it just a
okay.
new version totally?
That okay, so there's a difference between updating on the release and that's actually upgrading. So there's two different. There's update and upgrade. That one is to upgrade the program to the latest and greatest. Okay? I'll give you a little hint.
Oh, I see it.
Where?
Is it under the help button?
It is under the help button. Good job. So under the help button,
QuickBooks desktop.
yes. Yes.
Fifth section down. Okay.
Yes. So here you have the little button that says Update QuickBooks Desktop. Yes. That is it. That is how you update to the latest release without upgrading, okay? And it will even tell you, it will say right here, it's either you update the QuickBooks Desktop or you upgrade to the latest. Yeah. So that's the difference between the two. So they do kind of differentiate for you. So yes, to update the latest to the latest QuickBooks. Okay, so actually, also you can actually see this when you actually open your QuickBooks every single time, right? The first thing that's gonna pop up is, hey, QuickBooks got a new release. You want to update now or update later? My choice is I always press the update later. So that's also another way that you could actually update the QuickBooks as well. But it is going to be on the help menu, menu bar, and it is going to be to update QuickBooks Desktop. Okay, if you want to learn about what a release does, it's pretty much if you find bugs or certain sections in QuickBooks just doesn't work due to a coding error. What QuickBooks does is it creates a patch. So then it does work. You just have to you have to just download or update the QuickBooks to be able to run that patch. Okay, that's what a release is. Okay. All right. So next question here is, how do you use QuickBooks in single user and multi-user mode?
Okay, that one, I know,
Let me
it's
set
all the time, it's under file,
File.
and then you will go to switch to multi-user code.
Yes. So
Or if you're already on single or whatever, it'll tell the opposite of what you're on already. So
exactly. And this one is switch to
multi-user.
multi-user mode. So pretty straightforward. It's this one's. So how to use it is pretty straightforward, right? If you're on singular mode, that means only you and you, the user, can access the file. If you allow it to have multi-users, that means any other person that's in the same office on the same network that has access to the QuickBooks can use it simultaneously at the same time.
Right.
That's the only difference. That's pretty much what
Well,
that
I,
is.
yeah, I remember that because I used to have everyone get out of it, and I'd have to switch into single user mode to do. I can't remember what the certain thing was, but it was backup from the point of sale system to get everything to come.
Exactly. So
Kick everybody out so you can do it.
exactly. So that's how you do it is by switching that little button on the file button. Okay.
from single to multiple to or vice versa.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Okay. All right, so there you go. Next question is, what editions of QuickBooks are available at, and how to find out which one you're using? So let's first talk about the first one, which is what are the editions that are available to QuickBooks? Now, this is in regards to the certification exam, which means whatever you learn in 2018, what are the available additions to QuickBooks?
19.
QuickBooks what? What which one are we using right now?
There's Pro,
Pro,
Pro, where's my notes for that? There's Pro, Enterprise,
Enterprise, good.
Premier,
Premier, good.
There's another one. There's 3 of them.
Okay, so the one that you're actually downloaded from the book is what?
Premier. Yeah.
Nope.
Type it. Accountant.
the what?
Accountant. Yes, the one that you guys have currently right now that you download as a sample file is accountant. And then lastly, a popular one. I'll give you a hint. It's not a
Online?
desktop. Yes, there you go. Online. Good.
Okay, which one am I missing?
Nope, that's all 5.
All right.
That's all 5. So you have online, Premiere Pro, and enterprise and accountant. Okay. Now, accountant does exist, but it's not generally used for the public. For some reason, it's actually mainly geared towards tax accountant because accountant again allows you to take Pro, Premiere, and Enterprise and be able to open all of those different types of files. Okay, so that's what's cool about accountant, and you don't need to format, or you don't need to compress or change or convert. It should be able to do all of it. So it's a combination between all 3 that you can use that are the 3 main desktop ones, which is Pro, Premiere, and Enterprise. And of course, online's pretty straightforward, right? It's just a monthly subscription, and it's based on how much space you need and how many items you need to write in, how many names you need to collect. And also, there's cool features such as mobile tracking, where you can go on the go, take a picture, it will upload it right into your QuickBooks folder that you use for online. Limited amount of things that you can do when it comes to online because, again, you have to pay for which package that you want to utilize it for. So online is going to be something that you have to definitely look into it. So in order to find more details into it, all right, how do you know which QuickBooks that you're actually using right now? How do you know?
F2.
F2, good. The function key button. Just like how I showed you that I'm using QuickBooks Pro 2019. And it even tells you when I downloaded it, which was in September 19 of 2019. Okay, so had my QuickBooks for quite some time now. Okay, so good. Let's see if we're still good on time. Okay. All right, 10 more minutes, and then we'll take a break and then continue on afterwards. Okay. Now, the next question here says that how to password protect QuickBooks. So how do you do that?
Go to the menu.
Menu, okay. Which menu?
Recall.
Hold on, I'm trying to look.
The thing that is-
I'll give you your first one.
Company.
Company,
Menu bar. The company.
company menu bar.
Oh, there it is. users and passwords.
Correct. Set up users and passwords. Set up users and passwords. Okay, that is one way you can do it, right? I showed you an example how to set up users to have specific access points, right? For those who, if you are the admin, you can create users to have access to specific things in QuickBooks. But another thing too is it also allows you to set up your own password. So you could change your password. You can manage your login settings, whatever it is. Okay.
Now,
So
you do realize, come to certification test, you're not going to be allowed to search around and try to find the answer. You either know it or you don't.
Or you don't, right.
You go to menu, and you can't. They're not going to let you go to let's go to lists, and then no, that's not there. Let's go, you know, then let's go to company. Oh, there it is. No, you go to list first. You're wrong. You're out. That's a question exam.
I get you.
Okay.
So, all right.
well, that's given.
Oh,
That's
unfortunate.
that's given.
Right,
That's given if you're doing the navigation portion.
Yes.
okay.
But if you are just doing the multiple choice questionnaire, you actually don't actually get to see the QuickBooks. So that's also a downfall right there. Is when you're doing the multiplication. I mean, sorry, multiplication, multiple choice question. It's just the it's just the question. You can't have QuickBooks running in the background for you to do all that. And just like that, even if
So
this was
the
just
set up to not let you go through a bunch of wrong answers. You have to hit the right answer first, or you're just done, right? I mean,
well,
with that
it will
question in the navigation.
it will let you in the navigation portion if yes. So if it
If you don't select the right one first, you're just done with that question. It's time to
I believe you can there is a back button that you can go to try the answer again, but that's given if you've completed the exam. As in you can skip the question if you don't know it, and you can go back to it. So you do have that section there. The only thing is that you know, yes, you can attempt the question again, but yes, but for this kind of things, you should know it. But what I meant was, let's say you had to enter in a bill. If you for your first if your first answer is to go to the homepage and it says no, try again.
Oh, right.
Then you can go to the vendor's menu bar and enter a bill that way. If it says no, try again. Even though that is correct, it's going to keep asking you to try again until you get to what they want. Okay? So again, it could be the first time you try it in, it could be the second time, it could be the seventh time you tried it. So for that section right there, you know, that one's okay, but for like Mr. Sanchez said, you
Yeah,
can't
we're
just
looking for the
you can't look for the answer.
Okay. So in other words, in those questions, those are multiple choice. When you are on the multiple choice, you cannot access to that screen to check if
No,
your
no.
answer is
So
correct or no.
the certification exam is a set program that's through Certiport, and it's going to look, if not identical to your practice exam. You're going to get the questions and you're going to get the navigation portion. You're not allowed to have QuickBooks running in the background, or you don't have the program right then and there, because in the testing center, you don't get that extra thing. No.
Right. I was gonna say, yeah, if I'm at home, I can have my QuickBooks open while
Oh
I'm
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could do that, but just know that
Yeah.
the certification, I mean the practice exams, it's mocking the certification exam, so you're gonna still be timed. So just know that as well. Okay. So yes. All right. So this is where memorization, flashcards, whatever it is that helps you to memorize everything is going to come in handy. And that's what the practice exams it's for. It's just so that you can just keep cycling over and over and over again to try to memorize
Let me
this.
ask you this: like, does your practice exam act the same way as the real one, so that we can get
Absolutely.
a sense of how it
Absolutely.
really works?
Absolutely. It's the
So
same. It's the same
I just
program.
want to make, yeah, that's what I was saying.
Mhm.
It's not just giving you
Pete.
a round of questions, but actually how the exam works. So that you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. These
How did
practice
they?
exams, these practice exams come from the actual certification test itself. So obviously they're not going to give you like exact you actually know. There are some cases where you see an exact question on your practice exam that shows up on the certification exam. Okay, exact question. Okay. And again, the certificate, the when I give you the geometrics link, it should mock the exam. So again, you're gonna have the navigation portion that allows you to point and click. So that is also the same. It's similar. Okay. So again, the practice exams come from the actual certification test itself. It's the same cert report is who you're testing QuickBooks from, and we're getting the actual geometrics or practice exams from cert report. Okay, so why would we buy practice exams for you if the test is completely going to be different? No, that's not how a practice
Yeah, but I just
exam
didn't know how
works.
closely they were, how similar they were. So
It's very very similar, if not identical.
okay.
Okay, and it's gonna mock it exactly. You have 50 questions to practice the exam. The was it but these practice exams, I believe, there's the navigation and the multiple choice is actually separated.
Okay. Oh,
Okay,
okay.
yeah. Okay. All
And the
right.
practice exam is to be taken over at the school, right?
You can take it at school if you'd like, if it's more comfortable to you, but just know that we have limited space because we are
Okay.
utilizing the little section, the little computer lab for testing as well. So unfortunately, you cannot do the geometrics on campus.
Practice
Okay.
exams we could do at our online,
At
but
home.
the real
Online.
Yes,
exam we have to do
Okay.
yes,
I
at the
see.
school.
yeah. No, you cannot take it at home.
Right. No, yeah, not the real exam.
Yeah, yeah, the certificate, yes,
Yeah.
over
Yes.
there, but the practice exam at home or online at
Yeah.
home.
You
Okay.
can't, like I said, if we do have a space available, I believe in I believe you, because like usually what we tell students is when the campus is actually open, we leave the computer lab free, like no one's in there, and that's meant for people to either do their keyboarding or they can do their practice exam in that room. Now, because due to the testing center and COVID, of course, we're utilizing that room for these certification exams as well. So right now,
Okay.
you cannot take the practice exams on campus. It is gonna have to be done either online. We can put you in another room as long as you have the link because now it's available online. Now they made it a little more convenient now. And I believe some Pearson View this is what I've heard. I think my one of my friends is he's certifying for his Amazon certification. He's taking his online as well. So with the COVID, they're actually expanding their limits and stuff like that. So it's possible maybe you could take it online as well, but we cannot verify that for you just yet. I just know that in his special case, his can be taken online. All right. Anyways, it is 2:40. Let me go ahead and actually we'll just call break right now and just come back at 3 o'clock and we'll finish up the rest of this. Um,
Thingy.
mhm.
All right.
All right, I'll be back.
Okay.
All right.